Welcome. We are a minute late, but we are here.
Hello.
But Lois is here. Thanks for joining us. Let's see if we can get everybody in the picture. I think I just made it worse. Thank you for joining us. Okay. So it is extraordinarily cold here. Yes.
There we go.
You went out. The chicken's water freezes like in an hour. Not even.
Yeah, I don't have a heater out there for their water. We don't have a lot of birds right now.
No.
So I just go and give them fresh water a few times a day. They're doing okay.
I'm actually impressed. So the chickens don't really come out of the coop, but the ducks and the geese are still out walking on the on all the snow and ice. I'm surprised with the webbed feet that's not like terribly painful.
I know. You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Their feet aren't all black, so I guess they're better at handling the really cold weather than I would think.
Yeah, they jump right in the water, that freezing water. Jump right in the middle of it like it's nothing.
So, Tessa is here. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. So tonight we just thought we'd do a little chat, catch up. It might not be a super long live stream, but we thought we would hop on because it's been a few weeks since we've seen everybody. Beth is here. Welcome. And Jepco, hello. Why no live stream last week? Just kidding. Yeah, we were a little busy. And it was the New Year's. You stayed up with the girls, right? Was that last week? Or was that 2 weeks ago?
No, it was a couple weeks.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Last week, I guess, we don't really have a good excuse other than we were just trying to get settled in. So
I'll be right back.
Let's see. Carrie is here. Welcome. And Nana and Karen and Grammy is here. Thanks so much for joining us. So we're trying to get the little ones organized. We told them that they could stay downstairs during the live stream if they were quiet, but we're only 2.5 minutes in and they're already being loud. So I think they're going to have to go upstairs and play upstairs. So welcome. Another Carrie. Carrie's Culinary Crafts is here. And Beth, welcome. And J&B, thanks so much for joining us. So we're getting settled in pretty well. I'm tired. Probably look pretty tired, but that's okay. But that's all like expected at this point. Pretty used to it. I feel like I have pretty decent expectations of what the first few weeks of a new baby is like. So I feel like it's going relatively well. Right now we're working on getting her days and nights turned back around. Because Georgie here likes to take a real long sleep.
She's pretty much just sleeping.
In the afternoon. She's peeking. Little
eyes roll back in her head.
But then in the middle of the night at like 2 or 3 in the morning is when she's kind of alert and wants to eat every hour. So we're trying to push her schedule around a little bit.
She's a pretty good baby.
But she is a pretty good baby.
Yep.
We've not really had a real colicky baby or anything. They've always been pretty chill, I feel like. No? So, Delina's here from the cold Canadian prairies. I bet if we think it's cold here, I bet it's even colder there. Debbie is here from Oklahoma. Karen says, you look great for having a baby. Well, thank you. I feel really good. I do.
It bounces back really
pretty quick. Veronica is here. And Tessa, thank you. We think she's a pretty cute looking baby too. We haven't figured out who we think she looks like. I know she's all bundled up, so she's kind of hard to see. But my mom thinks she looks a lot like me. When all of our other babies, people think look a lot like Sam. So we'll see. When they're first born, they're so scrunchy. I feel like they just look like grumpy old men for a little bit. But we'll see who she ends up looking like when she gets a little bit bigger.
You say hi to Phyllis.
Phyllis is here from Southeast Kansas. Rebecca is from Eastern Washington. And JB said, glad to hear you're bouncing back. Yeah, I feel really good. The temptation, though, is to start to do a lot because you feel pretty good. And you're like, well, I'm going to go get stuff done that I couldn't get done when I was pregnant because it was just too hard to move around. But you have to be careful because you still wear out pretty easily and you can really do too much one day and pay for it the next day. That's one lesson I've definitely learned. Like when they tell you to take 6 weeks of recoup time, like even if you feel really good, you really need it. You need to not try to be, painting rooms or crazy things like that. Because even though you might feel okay while you're doing it, the next day you're really gonna pay for it. Right. Your body's just been through a lot. So Debbie says it's been 13 high, lows 2 to 3. With the negative wind chill. Right. Last night it got down to like -10. That was before wind chill.
Something like that.
Something like that. It was really cold. So what we ended up doing one thing that we've kind of discovered sort of works is if we shut up the upstairs. So we shut all the doors upstairs, so there's limited space for the hot air to go to kind of force it to stay more downstairs. And then we moved all the kids downstairs. So one of the reasons they're so loud right now is that we moved a big mattress from upstairs to the living room floor, and they've been doing back handsprings and flips and stuff on it all afternoon because it's fun to bounce on. So we moved everybody downstairs and pumped the wood stove all night, ran some radiant heaters to try to keep the temperature up, and it worked pretty well. -10 is really cold. Do you think the house does the house have any insulation in the outside walls?
It has some insulation, but not. It doesn't have. I think it has insulation, but I think one of the other issues is that I don't think it has any wrap, like house wrap, to help with drafts and things like that. So it's an old farmhouse.
Yeah, and you can feel like Sam went to the farm store today, right? Yesterday. He's gonna get like weather stripping to help with some of the doors, because like the doors, even though they're closed, if you stand by them, you can like feel the outside coming in. But they didn't have any, which you were kind of like.
It was just, it's whatever.
So we weren't gonna drive all the way to the city to find it, so just kind of make do. But there is a draft. If you are too close to a window or something, you feel it. We got some of the windows plastic, and we have the curtains all closed on all of the other windows to help contain the draft.
Karen says they're having a snowstorm in Massachusetts, and Rebecca says that they had 10 below.
Yeah, cold.
That's cold.
Cold. So
we're hanging in there.
we are. The kids really want to play outside, and we have to explain to them that when it's negative, it's really not the best idea because you get frostbite so fast. So they did go outside for just a little bit today. We bundled them up really good. We let the older kids out. So, but it's just miserably cold. So, but our animals are hanging in there. Nobody's.
See, look, the wood stove is just blazing right now. Look at it go.
Yeah. Super hot. Feels
It's
good.
rolling. It does feel good. Feels good on your back.
J&B says day 4 of it in Kansas City, rough, but so glad that the grid has held. Yeah, we haven't had any power outages. I don't think they've told us, like, I don't feel like I haven't gotten any emails or anything from the electric company.
It's just been cold. Well, we did have some wind, but we haven't had like a lot of snow or a lot of ice or anything like that. So that part has been nice. If it was this cold and you had like ice or, whatever, a foot of snow, I think that would be pretty rough.
Right.
But the fact that it's mostly just been cold with some wind that's
well, I think she's talking about just so many people running everything all the time that it maxes out the grid.
Oh, that's true.
So.
Yep. Excuse me. Dana?
Yeah.
Says also sweet precious baby. Thank you.
All right. Let's see. So, do you have any things that you want to accomplish this week? What do you got going on?
I think once I have to work later this week, so I don't know if it'll get accomplished this week, but probably next week. But once it's not super cold, I do want to. The last big project is to try and rip out all of the fencing and stuff from our old garden spot.
Yeah,
it's just
that'll look so much better.
Weeds super high. It's got a lot of junk in there. It just needs to be cleaned up. If we get it cleaned up and leveled out and stuff, it'll look great.
I feel like our farm goal last year was to really. Hey, Grandpa Dan is here. Thanks for joining us. Was to set up the animals in a way that, 1, reduced the amount of mowing we had, and 2, moved everything closer to the house. Because we discovered that doing a lot of walking to take care of different animals, it's just a waste. Like, it's a waste of time and it's annoying. So we really, I feel like we kind of pulled things in and fixed our animal setup a little bit. But I feel
last year was just like I wouldn't say survival mode, but it was let's just get through this year.
Yeah.
We didn't try to add a whole lot of extra stuff, but now we're ready to get some stuff done.
But I was gonna say, I feel like one of the goals this year is to kind of clean things up outside. So we've already done the big cleanup. If you watch that, when we bought the house, there was just so many people have lived here for so long, and stuff just gets thrown places because it's hard to get trash pickup, especially for large things, and then it gets grown over, and you never knew it was there until the goats started eating it down. You're like, oh my gosh, there's a giant pile of trash back here. And so we really got it all, or a lot of it, cleaned up and moved off the farm, and now we're gonna do some outside projects just to make things look nicer. Like, it doesn't have to be manicured and perfect. It's obviously a homestead. It's never going to be like that. But there's just, a lot of junky looking things outside, like that fence where the garden is, that just getting rid of it is going to make things just, I don't like to call it curb appeal because it's not like we're in a neighborhood, but it's like curb appeal. Like when you drive up, it looks better and it looks more put together. So.
J&B says, yeah, energy has been controversial here, but they did prepare for this. So that's good.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, there are...
that was a big yawn.
There is more stuff that needs to be cleaned up and picked up on the farm for sure, but just tackle it like one project at a time. So still feel like I'm a little.
Yeah. Do you want me to move over a bit?
No, it's fine.
So that's kind of going on. When her little eyes open, I think she looks a lot like Isla, and we felt that way too, especially because she's got chubby little cheeks. Isla kind of was a little chubby little cheek baby, so she's all wrapped up though.
Chubby
She's
cheek baby
in a sleeper, in a swaddler, in a blanket, trying to make sure everybody stays warm enough. Whoop!
Oh,
excuse you.
You piggy.
She's been a good baby.
She's kind of out of it.
So,
let's see. So we Laura was induced, so we knew when she was going in, because we haven't really communicated too much about.
Well, I did a vlog about the birth story,
Yeah.
but not everyone may have watched it. Go use your stuff right now, okay?
Mommy, I don't wanna.
Mwah. So I felt the last couple babies, being induced just seems to make a lot of sense because we're so far from the hospital. And I know I've never really had a fast labor, but when you get to 6 or 7, you realize that chances always there could go really fast. And with the amount of time it takes us to get the kids to grandma's house so that somebody can watch them, and then get me to the hospital, which is the other direction, you're really looking at about 3 hours between when you think maybe this is it, and then you wait to see if it is it, and then you got to drive one way to get to childcare, and then back past your house, and then the other way to get to the hospital. You're looking at about 3 hours. That's a long time. And so I feel more comfortable being induced the last couple times, and it went really well. My body responds well to induction. I know, and I mentioned this in the video, but I know, like, in the homesteading community, there's certain things that get very negative portrayals, especially when it comes to childbirth. One of them are what they call elective inductions, which is what I did. Like, I had no medical reason to be induced other than I felt more comfortable being induced, so I knew that we would get to the hospital in plenty of time to have a baby. That gets real negative viewpoints, but I think there's a lot of reasons why it's practical for some people, especially for people like us. If you're living in the middle of a city and it's going to take you 15 minutes to get to the hospital, it's a very different situation than being like, oh my gosh, it's at least a couple hours if I really hustle to get everything together and get to the hospital. So it's kind of a different situation. So
the whole process, like, it was super smooth. The labor and delivery, we didn't have any issues. It was.
Do you feel like you look at things, it feels different now that you are a labor and delivery nurse and versus just being dad?
Yeah, I mean, some of that, I think I did a really good job of just leaving people alone and let them do their job. So I was proud of myself for that. But I did my best to not, like, I don't know, study that stuff as much. Like, I was definitely, like, glancing over at your contraction pattern and the baby's heartbeat and some of that stuff. But I don't know. It didn't. I was really worried it was going to make me a lot more nervous and anxious, but that didn't happen.
Yeah,
so I was happy about that. I felt like you got great care. That was the other thing. I was like, now that I know, am I gonna watch a lot of things and be like, hold on? But
no, I feel like the nurses
were great, and
And the
we
fu-
really like your
yeah.
doctor. So.
The funny thing too was I was the only person in labor that day, or at least when we started, and there was nobody else. So I think the nurses were not. It wasn't crazy busy where they were having to split their attention between multiple patients. So that was kind of neat how that worked out.
What else? I was gonna say something else, but anyway, it was really good.
It was really
I told Laura. I felt like one thing, like at least with the last couple, that's nice, is now that we're older and we've had a few kids, it's almost more enjoyable. Because with the first couple of kids, like you don't know what's going on, like you have no clue, like you have no experience. It just makes you really, I don't know. I had a lot of not anxiety, but just like there's a lot of stuff up in the air. You don't know what's gonna happen.
Well, and those.
But I was like able to enjoy this. I
and
just
like
thought it was fun.
even for me, like feeling anxious about like delivery and stuff, which was for the first few babies, because you don't really know what to expect. Like it's counterproductive to having a baby. Like the more relaxed you are, the better it generally goes for you, because your body's more responsive, because tension like works against labor. So it just so just being able to have the mindset of like knowing what to expect, even though all labors are different and things can still go wrong, but just feeling just I don't know, more relaxed about it goes a long way.
Let's see. Carolyn says, greetings from Yakima. It was 0 here this morning, but got up to 15.
Warming up.
So a heat wave, really.
Let's see.
Oh, and Rebecca says, hi, Carolyn. I'm in the Spokane Valley. There you go. And Debbie says, glad things went well. My sister, who is 9.5 years younger, was born in Las Vegas, Nevada. We had to drive 60 miles to the hospital. She was stillborn, but nevertheless, it was a drive back in the day. Oh, that's sad. Oh.
Is it? I don't know if it's stillborn or she was born.
Yeah, okay.
But, so.
Thank you, Danielle. Thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. But the nice thing, too, when you're more experienced, like, they still have to come in and, like, check your blood pressure and stuff, but, like, it doesn't really bother you very much after you have a baby, because you know that they kind of know that you kind of know what you're doing and don't need as much support. So I feel like got more rest in the hospital, maybe, to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And they let us, we were cool to go at 24 hours. Like, when it's your first baby, they really want you to stay longer and make sure like, feeding is established and that you know what you're doing. But when it's your 7th baby, they're like, we can let you go basically as soon as the babies hit 24 hours so that they have all their numbers and stuff. And that's what we did.
Yep. Let's see. Diana?
And the best part is after we found this there's a chain of restaurants in like Missouri, and I think there's some in Illinois and Kentucky. It's called Slim Chickens.
It's Laura's new favorite restaurant.
Oh, because they have the best fried pickles with ranch. And so on the way home, Sam was like, what should we get for dinner? I was like, I just want a big plate of fried pickles and ranch. But if you live somewhere where there's Slim Chickens and you have not been, highly recommend. And you gotta get their fried pickles and their ranch.
That's Laura's favorite.
It's
They sell like fried, well, everything there pretty much is fried, but they sell chicken strips. That's kind of like their main thing.
But they have like a million dipping sauces.
Yeah, they got a bunch of dipping sauces. So Laura likes that, trying them all. Let's see. Diana says negative 42 here yesterday. Wow. Considering moving south. I bet so. Woo! That sounds no fun. I don't know that our house situation would have made it
I don't
for
know,
that.
yeah.
But, and Danielle says a -9 in St. Marie's, Idaho. Woo!
It's just cold. It's cold a lot of places, and I know it's like blizzard conditions on the east. It's just a cold week for everybody. So I know even in Texas, like they're having snow in Texas, which is a big deal because they just have no snow infrastructure. So
yep. Yeah, at least I will say, out of everything that happened with this storm, at least we didn't get a lot of snow. I was worried. I worked Saturday, and getting to the hospital was fine, but it started snowing on my way back, and it was cold. And around the hospital, there was people were slipping around a little bit. It was just
Yeah.
like slick snow. I know that's weird, but so I was a little bit worried. But the highways, I just took all the main roads and everything was fine. So I got back home. I told Laura that was like my main concern though, was like getting there. I'm like, I'm sure I'll be fine, but getting home is the big
it was
one.
a
But we
little
did
dicey.
okay. Yep.
So every time we think, because he has his truck, which is really nice. We've had for 3 or 4 years now, almost 4 years. Every time we're like, we should sell the truck. It would be smart financially to not have, because we don't use it.
We try not to drive it because it
gas
gets
is
bad
less.
gas mileage.
But then it'll have a day like that where it's like he would not have gotten to work or gotten home safely without the 4-wheel drive. And then you're like, well, we really need to keep it.
I will never forget driving through that snowstorm for Annie's surgery.
Oh, yeah.
We never would have made that without a
With the
4-wheel drive truck.
We were
Like,
determined, though. She had already been canceled twice, and then it was like a blizzard, and we were like, the doctor was still going to come in and operate, even though the weather was terrible. And I was like, I'm not canceling the surgery again. So.
And the highways, that time, the highways were like so-so. They were okay. But like every exit and on ramp, like they hadn't been touched at all. So you just had to plow through like 9 to 10 inches of snow, which wouldn't have happened in a little car.
Let's see, Camp Momo. Oh my goodness, we just discovered Slim Chickens last year, and they are amazing. The fried mushrooms are fabulous. We haven't tried
those yet.
We've tried the fries, which are good. The fried pickles. You tried the mac and cheese, right?
Yeah. Oh, everything's good.
Everything so far has been really good.
We haven't had anything that's like, ugh, gross. So, Danielle says, how's work going for you, Sam? It's going well. I will say, I felt really bad. I've not been there long enough to get their full benefit package to be able to take a lot of time to stay home, and so I did feel kind of bad leaving on Saturday. Because you just had a baby.
Yeah.
And because it was so cold, I felt bad because I knew we were gonna have to keep the stove going. There's just extra chores, So I did wake up early, took care of all the animals that morning,
Which was really helpful.
and I had all of the wood just like stockpiled, so that part was easy. But I think that's the one thing that I don't like about it is how far away it is.
It is a commute.
It's really, really long. So like if something had happened, it's like I am so far away. Like it's gonna take a while for me to be able to do anything. But we made it through.
We did. It went fine.
Mm-hmm.
And like you had me prepped. Like I just had to keep
my
throwing
best.
wood in. So there's
I
plenty
did my
of wood.
best. We had lots of kindling, lots of newspaper, all of it right here, so you didn't have to go.
You have to go get it out of the back.
Didn't really have to go outside. That was my goal, was that you didn't have to go all the way outside.
If Danielle is still here, here's a question. I think you have a bunch of geese too. Our geese, when it snows, will not go back in the coop. Like we have to chase them back to the coop. And no other time in like the year do we have any, like they are in the coop ready to be locked up when it gets dark. But I've noticed every time it snows, they won't go back. And I was just wondering if that was normal for geese. If there's a reason. I can't imagine what the evolutionary reason would be to sit outside in negative 10 degrees. But if there is snow, they will not go back in the coop without like taking out a broom and like spanking their little bottoms until they head that way. So let's see. Suzanne says, stay warm. We're having frigid weather too, freezing rain and snow.
Yeah.
It is snowing a bit again. The girls are hoping for enough to sled. They tried the other day and it just wasn't quite enough. So maybe tomorrow.
See, Rebecca says ducks do that too. Yeah, it's kind of funny when we open the coop. The ducks and the geese like come running out, and they're outside most of the day.
Chickens are like peeking around the door.
Yeah, the chicken, they did come out for a little while today. There wasn't, I know it was colder today, but there wasn't as much wind, so it actually felt nicer than the last few days. So today, the chickens actually came out and were running around. Yesterday, I opened that door and the chickens like literally peeked their head out and were like, nah, it's not happening. They came out and got some water. And I kept their feed inside their coop, so none of them had to go out. But anyway,
Daniel says no geese. I'm forbidden to have them. My husband doesn't like them. So.
We've debated about that because we got them. We wanted to like handle them a lot, but it didn't happen. So they're not super friendly, but they're not aggressive. Mm-hmm. But the kids are terrified of them.
I mean, it's a big, like, if you've never been around a goose, it's as big as Pat is, and he's 2.5. Like, they look at each other in the eyeballs. I mean, that's intimidating, so.
But we thought about they don't, like, terrorize the kids. The thing is, every time you open the door, like, we feed the geese and the chickens and the ducks, like, our scraps, you know, like our leftovers and stuff that we don't save. So every time you open the door, the geese are like, yay, food! And they just come running.
Oh, video. Yay! Okay.
It caught back up. That was
all right,
weird.
we got it. We're sorry about that. It is back up.
Hopefully it's back up. It should be back up for everybody.
You
You might have to refresh. You could type that for some people. They might need to refresh. I don't even remember what were we talking about now? It threw me
what
off.
are we talking about? Let's see. Well, J and B.
We're talking about the geese.
Oh, the kids holding snacks.
Yeah.
And going outside, and we told them they can't do that because the geese think you're gonna feed them.
Oh, J and B asked, did your other babies arrive with such a thick head of hair? Or thick dark hair?
JJ had a ton of hair, and just like she's got a hat on because it's cold, so you can't really see. But just like her, it's just like this stand up.
And JJ's was
mohawk.
dark initially too.
Yeah.
I think, but it lightened up real fast.
Yeah. So yes, just one of them though. I mean, Isla was bald at almost 1 year old. It took forever for her hair to start growing.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
So just it's interesting how different every child is. So
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I feel like. Trying to think. I was gonna say I feel like our blonder babies had more hair, but I don't think that's true anymore.
Oh no, she's had the most hair.
Yeah, well I'm saying like JJ was like that, but it turned blonde.
Oh yeah, that's
so
true.
it'll be interesting to see if she ends up being blonde too. So, but I had horrible heartburn, so that old wives' tale was very true for this one. So, I mean, nothing, like, I would take Tums multiple times every night, but I still had to sleep sitting up, and I still couldn't sleep. It was so bad.
Yeah, I would say the last month or so, you were pretty miserable.
Just burned.
Yep.
So, yeah, so the baby's going good. We think we will make it to the other side of the super cold weather here.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Michelle says, good evening from Louisiana. It's getting cold tonight, but no snow.
No snow.
I bet you don't see snow very often in Louisiana. Maybe you do. I don't know.
It's been a long time since we've had a lot of snow. Mm-hmm. We get, like, it feels like each year we might get a couple of inches, but that's kind of about it.
But we always talk about, because we're right on the river, that affects.
That's true.
They get more snow. Like, his parents are, I don't know, 25 miles from us maybe, and they'll get dumped on, and we get hardly any snow. But I think just the water temps of the river, the Missouri River, make a big difference.
I don't know.
So
throws things off. See, Michelle says, not hardly ever snow here. And Diana says, I must be thinking of spring when you plant your garden.
When do you plant your garden?
Oh, when do you plant your garden? Here it will be June 1st. Oh, yeah.
So our last frost is somewhere around April 20th usually, and then I always wait like 2 weeks past the last frost because...
There's always a day.
Mother Nature is just mean. So I usually plant about May 1st. I do a lot of direct sowing. The only things that I plant from starts are usually peppers and tomatoes. But even though you can start like squash inside and stuff, I find that we do better to defeat the squash bugs if we wait and direct sow later. So I plant my squash pretty late, like in June, and I direct sow it. So you don't get as much because your growing season is shorter, but you're not combating the bugs nearly like you are if you start right away. Because squash bugs have like a mating and egg laying like hot season, even though they kind of do it all until the fall. It's much heavier in the early summer, and so if you can hold off so that your plants aren't big until like July, at least where we are, it makes a big difference in the amount of work it is to keep the bugs from destroying your plants. So
Debbie says it's getting cold here, very cold. How's Mr. P with the baby?
Mr. P loves the baby, but he is a little bit jealous.
I think
it makes him a little bit naughty.
I don't know that he's necessarily jealous. He just wants mommy more. I don't know that he like takes it out on the baby or is upset with the baby, but I think our computers, I don't know. Hopefully it's still working. I feel like we've had more issues with Mr. P than the baby and the new.
Yeah. But
He's just like kind of continuously naughty. Just like, I don't know, walking into the pantry,
And just
taking a
knocking
bag
things
of
off a
chips
shelf,
and
yeah.
like dumping it upside down. Just like, you're like,
things
what
to
are
get
you,
your attention.
what are you doing, man? Like, this is not like you. So yeah, he is wanting a lot of attention, and I've been trying to give him some like extra attention, but he wants mommy.
Yeah.
So daddy's attention is
Daddy
okay.
doesn't count.
Yeah, daddy doesn't count. It's okay, but what he really wants is mommy. So mommy's been giving him bad habits, like letting him sleep with us every night
Not
since we've
sleep.
been
He
home.
doesn't sleep with us all night. He snuggles for an hour until he falls asleep. But yes, it is a bad habit. But I feel bad because the baby takes a lot. Newborn takes a lot of time, and so
I know.
trying to give him some one-on-one time after everyone goes to bed, snuggling, snug. So we are having continued technical difficulties. So I think we might end the live stream here because if it freezes and we can't end it, then it does not
post and save and all
it
that
makes
stuff.
kind of a hot mess of our channel page, which we discovered last time that happened. So I think we might stop here, but we appreciate you all stopping by to chat for a little bit. We hope everybody stays safe and warm the next couple of days. Don't go out unless you really have to because it's cold out there.
Yep.
So
Everybody take care. Thanks for watching.
and we
Have
will
a good
see you
week.
all guys later.
Yep.